Right, I'm gonna try this again because last time I confused myself on how her damage scaling actually worked. So, Biscione. Once again, I'm waiting till after this character's final ascension is released out into the public because I always feel like if you're gonna spend money on something, you should at least know exactly what you're getting. First ascension, Kobayashi Dragon Maid. Second ascension, say Shonogon vibes, and then third ascension, Superior from Pokemon, just like anthropomorphized. Probably a big reason why Plushie is such a big fan of this character. Not gonna lie, he doesn't help with the allegations. But yeah, let's finally get started talking about this character. I am very happy I got this character because I do think she is in line with Shisho Skasaha. If you look at her damage from the damage chart, not that one. Here, her damage looks better than it actually is. However, there are very few cases where her MP damage would be lower than this on the first shot. Basically, the enemy would have to cleanse, otherwise your damage is consistently around here. And this is a character that also ramps up damage pretty significantly too. So very rarely is this ever going to be your damage without other buffs, even especially after the first start. Base attack 10.9k, HP 15.3k. She mostly trades her attack for HP, not the worst considering how high this HP is, and her attack isn't even that low. It's 500 off like the midpoint. Star weight, star gen, these are normal Lancer numbers, although the star gen is a little bit lower, but not by enough to be concerning. And we charge 0.7%. Something really to note, this arts card is one of the best in the entire game. It is very, very close in nature to Koyanskaya's arts card. However, unlike Koyanskaya, this character has MP gain as part of their kit. And again, this is a quick unit, not Buster. It is much more likely that Biscione will have stars ready to crit on her arts card than Bitch. Bitch, it's more she floods the field with stars. She doesn't make that many stars herself. Because again, she's Buster. She's chaotic balanced. If you want full Domin synergy, you have to be able to make your allies evil, Jacques de Molay or Moriarty. And yeah, she is one of the few demonic beast servants that is actually single target. The majority of these servants are AoE. Dobrynia, Biscione, Melusin, and Tamamo Lancer are not the only single targets, but it is something to note that pretty much all the Lancers are single targets and everything else is AoE. The only other single target I think is Lobo, and yeah, no, I think it's just Lobo. It's Lobo and the technically Bargus, but not really. Actually, no, her single target is actually really good. In comparison to her AoE, it stands out a lot more. But yeah, if you haven't cleared Tunguska, or you don't have any of those characters, this is a decent option. Animal characteristics, you can use the CE on her. 4 hits on Quick, 4 hits on Arts, 2 hits on Buster, 5 hit, extra attack. Very good upstairs. Very good. Alright, first skill. Debuff success rate up 30% for 3 turns. Crit damage up 50% for 3 turns. Poison on all enemies. This poison lasts for 5 turns. And it's 2,000. Like, this is a really good poison that you'd want to be able to ramp up with, like, DOT stacking. Like, this is a good base number. They could have made it 500 because Biscione doesn't care about the damage. She only cares about, like, whether you're poisoned or not. But you can't look at her kit and see she's inflicting this stuff. And it's not just on the skill, it's also her MP. So the more you're able to loop the MP, the more the poison damage actually starts ticking for actual damage, not like meme damage. Should you be banking on killing your enemy with poison? Absolutely not. Not now, at least. But hey, we might be getting dot support in the future more than Babanshi Summer. Who knows? Last part, healing received down 50% for 5 turns. I think this is honestly going to be underrated just because of how infrequently we are fighting bosses that are like healing. If you're fighting a boss that heals a shit ton, reducing how much they heal by 50% means it takes them twice as long. Meaning if your damage is not enough to keep up with it before, you should easily be able to keep up with it now. Thinking about Demeter, that fight, minus 50%, Demeter only healing like 50,000 every turn. That is much more sustainable. Second skill, 30% quick, 30% buster up for 3 turns, and then 2 on attack buffs. First one, if you use the buster card, you get 5 stars. This is definitely on the weaker side of effects, but 5 stars is still 5 stars. It might be the difference between you critting, and those stars might help your mighty chains get to a crit if that's what you're doing. Other part, if you attack with a quick card, you put poison on before damage. This poison is 500 damage and lasts for 5 turns. Notice it says with quick cards, so your MP also counts for this. So your MP gives you 2 poison stacks instead of the 1 it's usually supposed to. Again, this just makes ramp up like even easier. Also, if you see quick cards, you are supposed to be clicking them. You are not supposed to just be going for like a mighty chain. This is a character where your carding is going to definitely affect how quickly you can ramp up. So if you're doing like esports and you're able to constantly do MP quick, you will hit your cap a lot sooner. But if you have cooldown reduction, it gets even easier and you have higher uptime. Third skill, invul 2 attacks 3 turns, 30% battery, and 20% MP gen for 3 turns. Now, it sucks that this isn't 30, but Biscione also isn't an AoE. AoE quick servants, or AoE servants in general, are the ones that want MP gain as much as possible because they're trying to loop. Biscione doesn't need it as much because, again, single target, but still would probably prefer, and also crits. It's single target and she crits like very easily. So the MP gain, she doesn't need that high amount. Would I like this buff in the future and just bring it to 30 and add another effect? Sure. Does that need to happen? Not particularly. I know people would prefer her MP got buffed before. Are they likely to do an MP buff first for this character? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because again, this is this character's MP damage in comparison to all these other characters that have buffed MPs. Bima is the exception. But Bryn, Shisho, and Enkidu all have buffed MPs. Biscione, without trying that hard, is able to match that damage pretty easily, especially because she can run better CEs than you could with Enkidu. And her buff duration also lasts a lot longer than Shisho if Shisho is not taking advantage of Wu Zetian. So most of the time, like, you view Shisho at this point because you know you're fighting Divine and you make them undead. No amount of a 1-turn card buff is going to compare to this level of damage. And Shisho is very bursty. That's kind of in her nature, while Biscione is much more of a sustained fighter. Passives, 20% debuff res, 8% star gen from presence concealment, 6% crit damage from independent action, dragon kind, 8% buster, and 160 damage cut. The earlier in the game you're in, the more this actually matters. If you are super early in the game, this might make it so you just don't take any damage whatsoever with Biscione. Like, I'm talking like you're going through Fuyuki and those skeletons just hit you. They probably actually do 0 damage. But for harder content, when enemies are hitting you for like 5,000 per attack, like, this is going to do absolutely nothing. Damage cut only really matters if you have defense to go with it, or the damage cut is so high that normal attacks just don't do damage. And even those damage cuts are hit count restricted. Passives, for ease of use, you do want mana loading. However, this is a crit DPS. She's quick, so automatically she is crit. Also, she does have a 50% crit damage buff. So if you think she's only an MP spammer, you're wrong. Very wrong. This character does crit very well. In more sustained fights, such as like doing a storm pod, similar in nature to the Leecher node. However, there is no Archer node like that, so you really don't need this right now. But this definitely would help more in CQs, because but only if the fight is they're not trying to min turn it. Just because she's not going to get enough cooldown reduction for this to matter if the fight ends in under 4 turns. However, this affects you because this is a crit servant. You're going to want to click 3 cards: crit, buster crit, MP, quick crit, and then extra attack. Getting this as a card buff just helps. Do you need it? Absolutely not. But again, if you are doing a lot of Brave Chains, like every single turn, you get the extra attack buffed every single turn. While this is only at the start of the battle, and this is only the first time you pop skills. They have diminishing returns, while this will always help you no matter what. Again, it depends on whether or not you plan on like going for Brave Chains. Again, this is not an art servant, so you're more likely to go for Brave Chains than arts, which is trying to MP spam. All right, time to talk about the MP. 5-hit single target. You inflict toxic poison for 5 turns to one enemy, so doubles the damage or increases the damage by 100%. The reason you don't say double is because when you have more than one of these, or when this number is not 100%, it's not double. Only 100% is double, and this is additive. So if you have 3 of these, it is plus 300% or times 4. Yeah. SuperEffective goes from it scales based on the number of stacks you have, and this is a very high number too. This goes up to plus 250% damage, when normally SuperEffective is only 150. So all the buffs you do to Biscione will really matter when it comes to like MP damage. If you're running Black Rail, if you have a lot more supports like active buffing Biscione, her damage is going to be like very explosive. And because it's unlike Shisho, that does have I would say slight issue running Black Rail, not in the sense that she can't do it. It's more that because she has 200% power mods, Black Rail kind of loses a bit of value because it's the same buff type. Biscione, there are no overlapping buff types. It is just multiplication for damage. Guaranteed drain, and you inflict poison before you do damage. This is why her MP damage is never, ever going to be at times 0. Literally before she MPs, she puts a poison on to get her super effective. There is no way she can't have it. Literally, the only time you're not gonna have damage ramp up is if the enemy is able to cleanse, and then you're kind of just shit out of luck. But if the enemy can't cleanse, you are good to go. Bonsi, this is a very, very strong one, and the title of this video is probably going to be grandson candidate, because this is up there with how strong of a Bonsi it is. 30% MP damage, and every time you crit, you can put poison on. This makes it so she doesn't even need her skills up to be able to like put poison on the enemy. And another benefit to that is because she doesn't have a lot of self-buffing steroids, it's only the 30% quick. Kinda does mean like she's not gonna fall off like other characters nearly as much. The poison lasts for 5 turns as well, just like the other instances of poison she inflicts. So yeah, this is just a very, very well designed character. Yeah. So, do I think this character is must summon? No, but she has a very strong case to be best in class for single target lancers. If you're not fighting Divine, you're better off bringing Biscione. I don't think Shisho is as strong, as dominant as she is if she's not fighting Divine. Because if you're fighting Divine, you can make them undead. Thus, you can get Shisho's full power mod. Otherwise, just use Biscione, and you won't regret it. But this is a weird time. This is the start of the year. Who knows what other banners we'll get this year. So yeah, just be smart with your ports. I think this is a good character, but if you have Shisho, don't need this character. All right, peace.
Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.